Do you remember when rock bands were notorious for throwing television sets out of TV windows? I kind of know how they feel. It's not the loud music, it's not the screens, it's not the stage, it's not the rock band stuff, it's the TV sets. Let me explain. I came up here on Tuesday evening, ready to be fresh and on top of my game, if you like, for my talk on Wednesday morning. The only problem was I injured my shoulder last week, and ever since then, sleeping has been a nightmare. Every time I sleep on that side, I wake up in the night. And on Tuesday night, I knew I needed a good night's sleep. And I was getting that. I was well away. I was having a wonderfully restful night's sleep until 1:30 in the morning. And then for no reason, I do not know how it happened, my TV set in my hotel room came on. Not good. And no, the remote control wasn't on the bed and I didn't turn around and lie on it. But what I did do is I turned over, I turned the television off, I thought, well, it's 1:30, I've still got plenty of time to sleep, and I went back to sleep. And that was fine. You know, I could have had a very good night's sleep from that point and been rested and ready for my talk. Apart from the fact that at 3:30 in the morning, my TV set turned itself on again. And that was it. I stumbled out of bed, I tried to find the plug, I switched it off, but I was awake. The Times arrived at 4, I sat in bed reading till 6, I got another hour, and I felt lousy. Now, why am I standing here and telling you about my television set turning on in the middle of the night? What has that got to do with referral strategy? Well, it has everything to do with referral strategy. Do you think that if I had had a good night's sleep, that I would be telling you that story? Do you think if I'd have gone to bed at the normal time, slept soundly, woken up, come and done my talk, that I would start my talk today by telling you all about that experience? Of course I wouldn't. But I do tell you when something bad happens, and that's what tends to happen for our businesses. People spread bad news more than good. All you need to do to check this is to test the newspapers every day. I went out this morning and I picked up some newspapers and I thought, well, let's see what they have to say. So we've got the Daily Telegraph. You pay extra for the taxman's blunder. Bad news. The Daily Express. 4 million households where nobody works. Bad news. The Times. The Prince, his charities, and the 20 million land deal, all about Prince Charles losing 20 million for his charities. Bad news. The Sport, sorry, I don't know how that one got in there. But the fact is, you pick up the papers and we read bad news. It's because bad news sells. But what happens for businesses is if you say to most businesses, where do you get your most effective leads? Where's your best source of new business? They will tell you recommendation and referral, collectively known as word-of-mouth marketing. When you ask people, where do you get those referrals from? Who recommends you? They will say, my customers. And when you ask, what do you do to get those referrals? They'll say, oh, well, they just refer me. Do they? How often does that happen? People are far more likely to spread bad news about your business than good. Because if you meet your clients' expectations, well, you're not giving them a story, are you? You've simply met their expectations. But if you fall below, they feel sore. They feel unhappy. They want to share that grief. They want to tell people. I went to a talk earlier today, and all I heard, in terms of third-party talk about another company was bad news. It was about war stories. It was about problems. It was about arguments. There weren't that many stories about good news in there because we don't spread them so readily. So if we want our clients to talk about us in a positive way, we have to constantly exceed their expectations. And what happens if you constantly exceed someone's expectations? Their expectations change. And so you're constantly trying to drive up quality just to get referrals for what you do naturally. Now, I'm not saying that your clients don't refer you. I'm not telling you that just by doing a good job, you won't get recommendations and referrals, and hopefully you will. But you are going nowhere near tapping into the potential referrals that you could get for your business. The potential that it is there and is left untapped by so many businesses. There are millions and millions of pounds left on the table untouched because people don't have a proactive referral strategy. Instead, they're always passive. Now, we talk about networking, and people come to events like this, and part of what we want to achieve is building our network. But what value is a network if you can't leverage it? And I'm sorry if that sounds hugely cold, but the fact is that you're here for your business, and you build your network for your business, and relationship building is a key part of that, but ultimately, you have to show a return on investment at the end. And if you're looking to build business, that return on investment comes in the form of referrals, if you do it right. So what I want to do this afternoon is just take you through the core steps to putting a simple referral strategy into place. A referral strategy that will set you apart from your competitors, because they won't be doing this, at least not till they get my book next year. A referral strategy that will mean that all that business that's left untapped, you can reach out and grab. How many people in your network at the moment now are talking to people who would be ideal clients for you, ideal people for you to meet to grow your business, and yet they haven't realized it? If you focus on it, if you know what you want to achieve, they could be talking about you right now and then making the connection. So what we're going to be talking about over the next half an hour or so is we're going to be talking about what referrals actually are and what the ideal referral for your business would be. We'll talk about who could refer you and maybe approach a few problems that people have in terms of the breadth of their network and issues that people have in terms of approaching people for referrals. It's no good just looking at what referrals you want and who can provide them. You need to step into their shoes and understand why they would want to refer you. So we will start looking at what inspires people to refer your business. And then I'll finish off by wrapping that up into a simple how, the simple strategy that can help you grow your business through referrals. So let's start off with what a referral is. And in answering that question, I need to actually look at what it isn't first, because this is the biggest mistake and the first mistake that so many people make with referral strategy. If you go away from this talk and you turn around to someone and say to them, you need Andy to speak at your event, and you give them my details and you tell them to search me out or look me up on Google, you're not referring me. If someone talks to one of your prospects and they say, you have an issue and this is the person who can help you, here's their number, you're not being referred. You know all those people that go around to networking events and when you ask for their card, they don't give you one, they give you 2 or 3 because they hope that you'll pass those other cards on. They're not asking for referrals. What they're asking for is to be recommended. And there's a big, big difference. You see, if you ask to be recommended, that's fine, and business does come in. I get quite a lot of my business because people recommend me. If I track it back, the reason that I'm at this event this week goes back to a recommendation about 18 months ago to a network in the Northeast. But if that network hadn't contacted me and said that this person recommended you, I wouldn't have got the event because I didn't know anything about it. And that would probably mean I wouldn't be here today because I wouldn't have been seen at that event. And that led to me being here. So when you just invite people to recommend you, you're giving up control. You can go back to your office, you can watch the phone, and you can wait for it to ring. And when it rings, that is fantastic. And you will convert more business that comes through the phone ringing by people who are proactively picking up the phone because they want your help than any other. But how much business are you missing out on because you don't know about it and they never picked up the phone? So just recommending someone is great, but it's not a referral. Let's look at what a referral is. As far as I'm concerned, there are 3 steps